Touchdown, Brandon Whitaker. The Argos go back on top.
Bo Levi Mitchell comes out throwing.
Busts through, touchdown. And Calgary's busting it open.
What a toss. Pinpoint to Double D for the TD.
The Argos are just trying to stay in the playoff race. The Stampeders are trying to clinch the West today. 2 of their 4 remaining games are against this Toronto team. Matty, what are you looking for?
Well, I'm looking for this Calgary Stampeder team that's flexed their muscles. And I was talking to Jamar Wall before the ball game, and he says the problem is some of these receivers don't know the Calgary Stampeders and how good we are. He says, but there's one guy that does on that side of the football, and that's Drew Willie, and we're going to remind him. To me, that is classic coming from the leader on that defensive secondary from the Stampeders.
Well, I'm looking at Sean Lemon, and all week long, Sean Lemon has been talking smack on Twitter. He said Bo Levi Mitchell was thirsty and he was going to give him some lemonade. So I'm looking to see what Sean Lemon and that defensive lineman is going to do. The defensive line is going to do this game because they need to put some pressure on Bo Levi Mitchell to have an opportunity to win this game.
I said it before. I'll say it again. This is man's game. Toronto Argonauts, you got to man up and compete against the Calgary Stampeders. The longer you keep this game close, the more confident the Argonauts are going to be. This is a really good Stampeder football team on a lot of different levels. But remember, the game is about hitting people. Argonauts go in there with an attitude about out-hitting the Stampeders. Be a man and man up.
You remember 5 years ago, the Argonauts, who did they release? Corey Boyd,
yes,
the leading receiver in the CFL. They went on to win the Grey Cup. So I'm saying there is a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
Not much tougher with the Eskimos winning earlier today. They're 6 points ahead for the final playoff spot. I can tell.
Glorious day to be thankful for as the CFL's team of plenty. The Calgary Stampeders collide with the Toronto Argonauts at BMO.
26-year-old Bo Levi Mitchell has the best winning percentage after 48 starts in CFL history and has not lost as a starter to the Toronto Argonauts, throwing 10 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions. And after their worst loss of the season to Montreal, Scott Milenovich shook the cage here in Toronto, cut 4 receivers, including 3 starters, and anointed Drew Willie the starting quarterback the rest of the way and into the playoffs if they can get there.
Yes, Milenovich sending a message to his team after the Argos' 7th loss in 8, but still just 3 points behind Eastern, leading Ottawa coming into the game. Dave Dickinson's Stampeders unbeaten in 13, and a 13th win today for Dickinson would match the CFL record for a first-year coach. First of 2 down the stretch between these 2 teams. Argos used to be tough against Calgary. In fact, they'd won 5 in a row, but the Stampeders have now won the last 4 meetings in this series as Hiralahu kicks it off, and the explosive Roy Finch with the return out beyond the 35-yard line to set things up for the red-hot Bo Levi Mitchell, making his 49th game start and a remarkable 47-1, including 4-0 against Toronto.
4,500 yards passing for Bo Levi Mitchell, 26 touchdowns, which lead the Canadian Football League to just 8 interceptions, lead coming in to this game this evening. I agree with Milt Stiegel on the panel here at BMO that just said the Argos have got to get some pressure on Bo Levi Mitchell.
Highest scoring offense in the Canadian Football League goes to work. And Mitchell's going to go to the air, looking downfield, and a bust already, and wide open to Tavares Daniels. Down to the Toronto Argonaut 31-yard line. Daniels has been red hot and just adds a 42-yarder to his resume.
Red hot, and they get out to a red hot start with this corner route with Tavares Daniels. Basically 2 receivers into the boundary, and they just turn Josh Mitchell around.
Just his 8th game, and just starting the 8th game already with 600 yards. He came in on pace for 1,450 in a full season, which would match what Eric Rogers did last year. Here's Messam. And Messam gets wrapped up with the middle linebacker, Marshall McFadden, as we set this explosive Calgary offense for you.
That's the leading running back in the Canadian Football League, and Jerome Messam. That extra receiver, Lamar Durant. Canadian, the receiving core, Tavares Daniels on fire of late. Kamar Jordan earning another start with Joe West available, but a scratch here this evening. And there's the O-line. Get Shane Bergman back at left guard and move Derek Dennis back to right guard.
Six for Messam, 2nd and 4 from the 25. Quick hitter is complete. Bubbling back is Jordan, and he's going to be short of the first down. They're going to get a good spot at the 22. It's going to be 3rd and 1. And they leave the offense out and go no huddle. Dave Dickinson not hesitating here. 3rd and a yard, and Big Messam has it, and a lot more.
And then some.
Argo defense ranked 8th against the run, number 1 against the pass.
Yeah, they're going to have to stop Messam. That starts with that D-line, and Sean Lemon, when it comes to that pass, leads the CFL in sacks with 12. There's linebacking core led in the middle by Marshall McFadden, and then a secondary that has been a work in progress all year long due to injury. Matt Black at safety.
Josh Mitchell, the only member of that secondary that was in the opening day lineup. In the red zone, a fake to Messam. Mitchell on a roll, and he throws that away with nobody home. Daniels well covered on the play by Aaron Berry on the corner.
Rich Stubler, defensive coordinator for the Argos, very familiar with this Calgary Stampeder football team, and Dave Dickinson. Of course, Dickinson familiar with Stubes as well. But his philosophy defensively, bend but don't break. Let's see if they bend but don't break here on 2nd and 10, or do they break and give up the major?
Stamps 9 for 12 in the last 3 games in the red zone. 2nd and 10. Extra man on the rush now, but open corner, and it's a touchdown. Tavares Daniels, well, they're going to mark him just short of the cone. Daniels there to survey, thought he had it. But it is a first down and goal at the 1.
And Tavares Daniels can be in the end zone, and the ball can be outside of the plane of the end zone of the goal line. And it looks like that's what they ruled. I thought, yeah, his heel was in, but they're saying that the ball did not cross the plane before he went out of bounds.
So their second time leading a yard. A flag comes down as Messam gets stuck near the line, and no signal that he was in. Usually that flag is offside defense.
Well, that last throw to Tavares Daniels, Bo Levi Mitchell had all day back there in the pocket. Dave Dickinson's offensive line getting closer to the starting group.
Down.
So the offside makes it 1st and goal from the 1 again. And this time the big team comes in. Messam with 10 rushing touchdowns on the year. Buckley hands it off. Another flag. Messam has broken the plane and is in for the score.
Yeah, Messam can stay on the big team.
Looks like this might be going against Calgary.
Bo Levi Mitchell going right back out. And they're bringing out the regular offensive starters. Both officials looking down the line.
Offside.
Through their flags.
Toronto, number 97. That penalty will be declined. Touchdown.
So it is a touchdown. Ken Bishop had his hand just beyond the goal line, which is the automatic infraction. And now Calgary goes for 2. Stampeders 8 for 16 on 2-point convert attempts. And Messam again, and he'll walk in. Jerome Messam has 12 touchdowns on the year, 11 on the ground, and adds 2 more to boot. And another first possession touchdown for Calgary. And it all started on that 42-yarder from Mitchell to Tavares Daniels on the opening play of the day.
Hey, I'm Bo Levi Mitchell.
Mitchell, though, has time. Has for Curry Graham. Touchdown!
I'd like to wish all of Canada and all the CFL fans a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Well, it started well for Bo Levi Mitchell. 8 plays, 73 yards. The touchdown plunge by Messam, and 2 more to boot for the Brampton native.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all our football fans watching this evening.
Got a couple of newcomers for the Argos awaiting this kickoff. DeVere Posey out of Ohio State. Ben Molina from Texas A&M. They fake the reverse, and it's Posey with a decent return up around the 38-yard line, brought down by Deron Mayo and Glenn Love.
You may see a little DeVere Posey and Ben Molina in the offense with Drew Willie. Drew Willie told this week by Scott Milenovich that he will be the starter, even though Ricky Ray is close to returning from injury, not dressed here this evening, but he's close. It will be Drew Willie. Got his first start last week versus Montreal as an Argo.
Argos haven't faced the Stampeders, but Drew Willie has this season, threw for 358 early this year. Back to pass through the reads, checks down to Whitaker, and a nice sidestep past Charleston Hughes to get extra yardage up beyond the 45.
Well, I mentioned that Scott Milenovich rattled the cage and cut 4 receivers, 3 starters, including Hazelton, Gurley, and Elliott. So you're going to see some new guys in the receiving core. Levi Noel, Brian Jones will start on the right side, the wide side of the field. There's your offensive line. Greg Van Roten over at left tackle. Chris Van Zyl on the right side.
Second and about 1.5 yards. Big team in, double tight ends. Whitaker trying to reverse field, and he'll get stopped for a loss. He got stuffed behind the line of scrimmage. And Calgary forces a 2-and-out.
Brandon Whitaker, the number 2 running back behind Jerome Messam coming into the week in the rushing category. That's why Scott Milenovich has the confidence in him to run on a second and medium like that.
Charleston Hughes beats the block, and Jagarrett Davis in there for the tackle after Hughes forced Whitaker back. So Hiralahu in his 50th Canadian Football League game with the punt, and here's Finch from his 15. Up to the 25-yard line for Roy Finch. 51-yard punt, 10 on the return. Bo Levi Mitchell back to work. Great day in Toronto, 12 degrees. The temperature, not much wind here on a great late Monday afternoon at BMO. And another fast start for these Stampeders.
Go, go, go!
First down at their 25. Handoff to Finch off the left side, and he's angled out around the 31 and a pickup of 5.
Well, he's on a roll, and the best winning percentage of any starter, as I mentioned off the top. Look at the names on the list. Best all-time record after 48 starts, 47-1.
And it hasn't taken long, but he's already moved into 50th in the all-time passing list. And he'll be climbing that ladder in a hurry. 2nd and 5, they go double tight ends and hand it off to Messam. And straight ahead for another first down. Will they be able to stop Big Jerome Messam today?
Yeah, both. Messam on the ground and Bo Levi Mitchell's arm. And so what do you do if you're Rich Stubler and the Toronto Argonauts on defense? You know, I say you go a little out of your comfort zone. Stubler likes to play four-man pressure and drop into zones, be patient, thinking that the offense will self-destruct at some point. This offense will not. Well, I say you got to get out of your comfort zone, get after him a little bit, and take your chances.
Back to Messam, right side. And this time they do contain him. Scott Milanovic mentioned yesterday, we can't let Messam demoralize us.
And that's what he does, is he starts getting you down the middle when you are in good position to stop Jerome Messam, and he either powers through those tackles at 260, or he's still got quick enough feet to make you miss in the open field. Get him stopped on first down, put Bo Levi Mitchell in second and long, and then roll the dice on some exotic blitzes. That would be my game plan.
So you'd be blitzing here on second and 8?
Absolutely.
See what they do. They send 4, and they throw it up here. Jump ball, and Alford in great defensive posture against Anthony Parker.
Played it very, very well. Marcus Alford in straight man coverage on Anthony Parker. They do send some extras. You can't play it much better. Timing his jump and getting the knockdown inside position and confidently playing the ball.
So Deontay Spencer dropped back, and Rob Meaver, another local product, gets set to kick it away. Number 3 in the league in punting at 47.1. This one not his longest. Flag comes down, and Spencer dropped around the 33-yard line. 42-yarder for Maver. We'll sort out the penalty when we come back. First games as an Argo, but a guy with 5 years experience. And with more on Drew Willie, let's join Matthew Shinetti on the sidelines.
Absolutely, CC. Now, what Drew Willie learned about in Winnipeg when being in the start and obviously struggling a bit this year and then being benched for Matt Nichols, he says he's taken that experience and that mindset of dealing with that to Toronto. He didn't necessarily think, obviously, at the start of the year he'd be the Toronto Argonauts starting quarterback, not just this season, but going into 2017. But Willie says he's taking all that experience, that disappointment, to understand the process, the patience. And Scott Milanovic, building on that, says he's going to give Willie time to breathe in the playbook. He knows he doesn't get all the nuances now, but the important thing is Milanovic likes his quarterback's composure and is going to give him the time to be the Argos' new leader. Guys?
Well, they've got some new guys to learn this offensive system, not just the quarterback, but Levi Noel, Brian Jones making their first starts at the receiver position. Willie on start number 2 as a Toronto Argonaut, 1-3 in his career against Calgary. Pressure coming, picked up by Whitaker, and that's a fumble. That's a lateral live football as he tried to dump it back to Whitaker, who steps out.
Well, Brandon Whitaker might have been wise to throw that down the field and out of bounds if he could get it out of there. This is Willie, just the pocket collapsing around him and then just trying to find a check down. Brandon Whitaker in behind him, so that is a lateral live ball. He had to scoop it up or Calgary could recover.
So loss of 8. 2nd and 18 back at the 29. 4 receivers to the near side, 3 actually, as Coombs stays in to block, and the pass complete. And close to the first down. The catch made by Kenny Shaw. Going to come up about a yard short, and Scott Milanovic has a decision.
Wants to take a good look, and it is a yard, exactly a yard. It looks like, Chris. Nice out route cut here on the curl, and then just thrown open to the outside. That's a confident throw from Drew Willie. He's going to need a few of those. Try and get in a rhythm and on a roll. New set of downs would help that.
So Dan Lefevre, the short yardage group for the Argos, come in. Remember, they needed about a yard and a half on the first series, and they lost yardage. Lefevre trying the right side, and no surge at all. That's not going to get there. And it looks like a turnover on downs. Great stuff by the Calgary front.
And a couple of mistakes on the quarterback sneak from Dan Lefevre here. One is he looked a little hesitant as to where he wanted to go with the ball. Once you take a look, just go ahead and be aggressive. He gets turned sideways and then actually facing the opposite direction, and you have no drive in your legs when you're facing backwards.
Derek Wigan, the second-year man out of Queens, with the stuff, and it's Calgary football. Stampeders take over at the Toronto 48. Just the third time the Argos have failed on those third down gambles in 20. Messam, second level, and more. Jerome Messam won't go down till the Argo 30-yard line as he continues to chew up yardage. 17 more for Messam.
Yeah, there's the footwork that I'm talking about with Jerome Messam, and he's going to go right in one of these A gaps right here. Looks like between Spencer Wilson and Shane Bergman once he cuts back, and then you see the footwork in the hole.
Now Mitchell to the air, nearly went down, stayed upright, and that pass deflected into the air but falls incomplete. Intended for Jordan.
Argo fans may not agree with me on this, but I still like the call of Scott Milanovic going ahead and trying to go on third down there. I mean, I think against the best team in the league, you've got to go ahead, try and play aggressively, play to win the game. Now they need a stop from their defense to stay in it early in this one, but I like the decision. It's the best team. Go out there and put it all out there. If you got some trick plays, throw them in there too. Like Matt Dunnigan said before the game, empty the bag of trick plays.
Second and 10, they swing it to McDaniel. The second down specialist won't get one here as he's cut down at the 28.
Good sudden change defense from the Argos.
So they get the stop they need, and the field goal team will come on for Calgary.
Absolutely. Sudden change in half the field to Bo Levi Mitchell and the 12-win Calgary Stampeders. His recipe for disaster. The Argo defense gets the stop. Good sudden change deep. Now Drew Tate is the backup quarterback. Does he have something on?
Perez from 35 out is good, and it's an 11-point Calgary lead here in the opening quarter. 3 points off the turnover. It remains to be seen, but after the big cuts last week, Scott Milanovic said we're better now than we were yesterday, and he's counting on these young guys to be able to produce.
Now listen, I looked at Brian Jones out of Acadia and on his combine video and his one-on-ones, and he was trucking some DBs, running over guys. Big physical receiver at 6'4", 233. Cut some big names when he rattled the cage this week.
In motion, hits the line on the waggle, but they go the other way. And the catch made in space for Spencer. He gets cut down quickly, but there is a flag on the play.
These new receivers and starting quarterback Drew Willie up against very, very tough Calgary defense, ranked number 1 in the league, points allowed. That's the challenge. But with the cuts this week, allows Kenny Shaw to step up and take more of a dominant role in the offense. Been their best receiver.
Penalty against the Argos after a pickup of 2, and
illegal block, Toronto, number 84. 10-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
Well, there's one of the young guys we were talking about, Levi Noel.
Charleston Hughes, 10 sacks on the year. That's tied with Bazzi and Chick. Second place in the league lead. And then you look at the linebacking core with Alex Singleton in the middle. 5 tackles for losses leads his team. Gets Savante Evans back on the corner.
First and 20, pressure off the edge. The pass for Whitaker is incomplete, rushed because of the blitz from Duron Mayo.
Yeah, I think Drew Willie wanted to go backside to Kenny Shaw here in the short side of the field, and Duron Mayo was going right down that throwing lane, and he couldn't find him. Hale's just going to slide out here and just hit it. You look back, you see he glanced that side, and all he saw was 42 tracking him down.
2nd and 20. Argos looking for their initial first down. Whitaker. Burnett there to slow him up and hung on to make the tackle. And the Argos still without a first down as the punt team comes on once again.
Well, one thing that the Argos cannot afford to do against this Calgary Stampeder team is have those negative plays on first down and get in first and long, like real long, beyond 10. That offside penalty, that holding penalty on first down gets them in 1st and 20, 1st and 15. They're not going to be able to beat Calgary if they make those kind of mistakes.
Iralahu, line drive kick, Finch up beyond the 45-yard line and dropped at the 48. Just about everything has gone right for Calgary since, well, the first loss of the season on opening night. And Dave Dickinson gives his team high marks, but still expecting more.
You know, I know our team's doing a good job, and I'm happy with where we're at. I just think there's bigger things out there if we can do it. And you know, they still haven't accomplished anything yet, but we're close to getting to the first step. We got the home playoff date. I guess that is something that we did focus on. But as far as personally, I mean, I'm hoping to get a lot of years in. So certainly been a good year. Our team is doing what I asked them to do, and feel like we got a good chance to be a real special team if we can keep improving.
Could be among the all-time best regular seasons. Messam straight ahead, close to midfield before he's driven back, and I guess nobody thought Dave Dickinson wouldn't be anything but successful, and he's on a record-setting pace of his own.
His GM won the Grey Cup that year in 2008. Interesting, Mike Benavides on that as well. That was the first year that he took over for Wally Buono as the head coach of the BC Lions. 13 wins, and if Dickinson can lead the team to a win tonight, he'll tie that group and clinch first place in the West Division.
Well, Adam Rita's going to win all those games with Dunnigan and Schultz. I mean, 2nd and 4. Quick hitter, and it's caught at the Argo 51-yard line. It's a catch for Kamar Jordan with Thomas Gordon climbing his back. Another first down for Calgary.
Yeah, Joe West back and ready to be put back in the lineup, and Kamar Jordan is holding him off. 15 catches the last couple of games. That's number 16.
He had to wait his turn. Dave Dickinson kept telling us, I'd like to get Jordan back in, but everybody else was so successful. And now that Jordan's back in, he's going to be tough to move out. He's got another catch here and another first down at the Toronto 40.
That's the other thing about this matchup, though, offensive coordination versus defensive coordination here is, you know, Dave Dickinson and Bo Levi Mitchell think alike in one aspect where, especially on first down, they will be patient. And if Rich Stuber continues to play sort of that zone where he drops guys off or loose man, they'll take those hots, they'll take those quick throws, get in second and manageable situations all night long.
Now they go double tight end and hand it off to Messam. Messam down to about the 36, has 4 more. Looks like one more play in this opening quarter. Boy, not only is Messam gigantic at 254 carrying the ball, the starting offensive line for Calgary today, 1,655 pounds. Those are some big boys.
I think they had some turkey. They probably put a couple birds down.
They've done some grazing. Second down, and play won't get off.
But it is a big group. Big group up front.
About 30 pounds per man heavier than the Argos.
Calgary, number 59. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
So when you move prematurely, you're going to be seen, and that time it was 320-pounder Randy Richards.
And right beside him, Shane Bergman at 6'7", 350. You mentioned the smallest being Dan Federkyle at 320. That's the biggest for some teams.
And you just saw that stat about sacks. They put the firewall up in front of Bo Levi Mitchell. So 2nd and 11, final play, first quarter. Mitchell stands in, throws to the end zone. What a catch! Touchdown! Kamar Jordan.
And that's how you stay in the starting lineup. As a receiver, make catches like that for your quarterback. Seam route. Bo Levi Mitchell, nice throwing lane, slides up into the pocket and lays it out there for Kamar Jordan to go get it, and he does just that.
5th game, 3rd touchdown for Jordan, and the 27th touchdown pass of the season for Bo Levi Mitchell. And going for 2 once again.
BC Lions and Calgary Stampeders, the 2 teams that do this quite often, go for 2. And are both right at 50% coming in.
Left a mess in the last time. This time they're going to try it through the air. And it's 2 more. Tavares Daniels has the catch, and it's a 19-0 first quarter lead for Calgary. Best team in the Canadian Football League, showing you why. Pretty play from Mitchell to Jordan. Another great opening quarter for Calgary, and not only no points for the Argos, no first downs.
Yeah, no first downs in a whole quarter of play. I had a couple of 3rd and short opportunities to try and convert, move the chains. Didn't get that done. Were stopped both times. I thought the defense played okay, actually, despite the fact they've given up 19 points. Remember the stop after the turnover, but the Argos have got to get something going offensively.
Well, they were 2nd and 1.5 on their first possession, couldn't convert, and 3rd and 1, they don't convert, and that adds up to getting in a hole.
Well, they're having these negative plays on first down, getting them in 1st and 15, 1st and 20, and a new quarterback in Drew Willie trying to learn this Scott Milenovich system. That's not going to help at all.
The win here, Calgary would nail down 1st in the West. Talking about Edmonton challenging for the crossover spot. But the Argos with a victory here today would have been just 3 points out of 1st in the East. But in a huge hole as they reverse it here, and there's Molina taking that little pitch, and he's dropped around the 25.
Let's go back to that touchdown by Kamar Jordan, just show you exactly what he did. Nothing fancy about the route here to this side of the field. He's just going to go straight down the seam here. And again, Rich Stubler playing that zone defense, going to drop 3 or 4 back in that umbrella look, and he just splits the coverage.
Drew Willie, 34 yards of passing in the first quarter. Throws the out here, and Kenny Shaw has a catch. Looks like it's close to 9 as he steps out at the 34.
Had a talk with Drew Willie before the game, and I honestly, over the last sort of year and a half, I haven't seen him more optimistic, more upbeat and excited about this opportunity and about this offense. Said he's worked really closely with Ricky Ray. That's been a huge help for him because Ray has such a great grasp of it. And he's talked to former quarterbacks that work with Scott Milenovich. And this time they get it. It looks like on in the short yardage situation. But he said he's talked to other quarterbacks that have worked with Scott Milenovich and said once you get it, once you understand the concepts, you will have a target. You will have an open receiver. There's opportunities in this offense on every play, but it takes a while to get a full, good grasp of it. And he was real excited about this opportunity. See if he can take advantage of it.
Third time the charge on that 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 1 attempt. Get the yard they need for their initial first down. From the pocket, dumps it off underneath, and there's the youngster Brian Jones with his first CFL catch. Number 4 pick in the 2016 draft out of Acadia.
Yeah, 20 games at Acadia and over 1,300, almost 1,400 yards. going to come from the left of your screen here. He comes out of the backfield, and then he's just going to sit down over the middle. Big, huge target. Very physical guy. He's got a block punt. Both these new young receivers are working on the teams and have been this year and worked their way to the starting lineup.
Number 6 pick in the same draft, Alex Singleton with the tackle. 2nd and 6. There's an open man, and he does make the catch. And it's Andre Dury heading into Calgary territory.
Wow.
Argos finally have their first big play of the day.
Well, I was going to say, Andre Dury coming out of the backfield, I think he knew how wide open he was. Sometimes you don't know. He's to the left of your screen. Again, starts from deep in the backfield, and he's out there wide open and had to fight that one off a little bit. He knew he was open, just had to get the handle and turn it up.
Might have to fight the sun here a bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Hung in there. 26 yards. Dury a first down. Argos to the Stampeder 45, and now they run the jet sweep. Spencer trying to turn the corner. Flag comes down as Burnett has the tackle, and Brandon Whitaker has his arms in the air, claiming innocence. Looks like an illegal block going against Toronto.
Promising drive, first down, negative play.
And Dave Dickinson waving them back.
With maybe their...
Holding. Toronto, number 3. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
With the Argos, Chris, maybe their most consistent player on offense all year.
Yeah, he's had a terrific season, Brandon Whitaker. 1,267 yards from scrimmage. On pace for his second 1,000-yard season rushing. Number 2 in the league, and Scott Milanovich likes his blocking better than he likes his rushing or receiving. But not that time. 10-yard penalty, 1st and 20. Willie has time, and now in trouble, and a flag comes down as he gets dropped. Jagarrett Davis has his 4th sack, but nobody open for Drew Willie to find downfield.
Holding. Toronto, number 57. That penalty's declined. 2nd down.
Left guard Tyler Holmes called on the hold.
You see from the far right a little bit of a delay from Jagarrett Davis here. You see he steps up late, gets that push because the secondary did their job in the back end. The D-line gets home.
2nd and 20. Here comes Heat. And Willie was cut down low. A flag comes down. Singleton the tackle on Kenny Shaw, but that's going to be roughing the passer. And Willie flexes the leg after getting hit low.
Major foul. Roughing the passer. Calgary, number 95. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
There's your guilty party coming off the edge, working on Chris Van Zyl, who kind of shoves him in the direction of Drew Willie. And that's what Jagarrett Davis was arguing, saying he got pushed into the legs, but that doesn't matter. It's still a penalty.
Especially when you extend the arms to... Didn't look as serious as initially thought, but it is a penalty and a first down. And here's Whitaker, and boy, they're getting nothing on the ground against this swarming Calgary defense today. And another flag comes down well after the play was done. Quinn Smith signaling it's going against the Argos.
Alex Singleton.
After the play, objectionable conduct, Toronto, number 3. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Whitaker looks surprised at that.
It's the second time in the last couple of plays that Brandon Whitaker's had his hands in the air like, what? Why am I getting called on these penalties? And I didn't
see what he does with the football. He just flips it out. It happened to hit a Stampeder off Quinn Smith. So
yeah, that's not a penalty.
Second and 20. Kenny Shaw's got another catch. He'll step out close to the original line of scrimmage. The field goal team will come on for the Argos.
Couple of throws there for Drew Willie can help him. I still think he's got to get that confidence up every time he gets out there to a point where he feels comfortable stepping into those intermediate 15-yard throws over the middle into the small windows. He's taken a lot of hits over the last year and a half.
41-yard attempt for Hiralahu out of the hold of Logan Kilgore. And the Argos are on the board. Just past the 4-minute mark of the second quarter. But Bo Levi Mitchell set a hot pace in this game, connecting with Kamar Jordan for a touchdown and a 19-3 lead. Join us at the half of the GMC Precision Playbook. Today, Suits talks about the triangle and how it's the key to stopping the run. You need a big triangle to stop Jerome Messam, don't you?
Yeah. I guess a bigger triangle when it comes to Messam. But I'm talking about those two defensive tackles, those two interior D linemen with a 4-man front on defense and the middle linebacker. If you're good there, down Main Street, you can have a great run defense.
"41-yarder for Hiralahu, who put the Argos on the board. Now he'll kick it off. And it's Finch striding across the 25. Flag comes down as Finch finally is dropped at the 41. He's been terrific all year. Number 2 in all-purpose yards with over 2,100 and closing in on 1,000 punt return yards. But a flag on that return.
During the return, holding Calgary number 36. 10-yard penalty, first down Calgary.
One of the special team leaders of the Stampeders, Glenn Love, is flagged, and that will move the Stamps back on offense as Mark Killam has a word or two with Love on the sidelines.
So in the run defense right now against Jerome Messam for the Toronto Argonauts, I'm looking at Brian Hall and Ken Bishop, the two interior D linemen, and Marshall McFadden behind them. That's what sets up the triangle. And if those two interior defensive tackles get a real good push and don't allow Messam downhill momentum, have him sort of dancing in the backfield, the linebacker can scrape.
Messam, 10th carry of the game, and he surges through again. Fumbled the football. Who's got it? Looks like the Argos have it. And a big takeaway for the Toronto defense. Up with the football comes Marcus Alford.
Messam fighting for that extra yard. Hit by Matt Black, the safety, comes up and runs support to help out.
And Messam a little casual with the football.
Out a little bit away from his body, absolutely, Chris. You got to tighten it up a little bit there, but didn't look like his knees had touched.
Argos third in the league in takeaways, get a big one here and a little reverse. Levi Noel inside, and he was caught in traffic, and Micah Johnson brings him down.
You see how that's a running play, even though it would have been a forward pass. It's one of those plays that the coaches call a long running play, and you see how the penetration from the D-line just disrupts it completely. Good run defense gets a good push from those middle guys.
Now Stamps are winning up front, aren't they?
Yeah, you get a good push up there from Micah Johnson. And all those running plays and fly sweeps get caught in the backfield.
2nd and 10. Willie, the crosser, complete. Jones down to the 5.
There you go.
Brought down by Duron Mayo, but it's a big first down for the Argos. And the newcomer, Brian Jones.
Based on what I saw at the Combine and those replays, watching him on YouTube videos, I expected him to lower his shoulder when he turned the corner here. Watch, he's looking for contact.
Mayo, the leading tackler on the Stamps. Number 6 in the league, brings him down, but not before Jones gets it inside the 5, first and goal. 17-yard play. Willie to pass, pressure on, and he won't get it away. Jagara Davis has his second sack.
Good run defense all game long for Calgary. Basically, I think, talked Scott Milenovich out of trying to run it on first down at that point on the field. Because you would think they'd at least go one run. Marcus Brady calling the plays. When you get down inside the 5, the first thought is go ahead and try and run the ball on first down, get at least halfway there. Good run defense.
Second and goal. Willie steps up. He's going to take it, and he'll get dropped at the 6. So well short of where he had to go, and the field goal team will come on. So the Calgary defense stiffens after the Messam fumble. And the Argos will settle for a 3-point attempt.
That pressure on that first down play didn't allow Drew Willie to get it to an open receiver, and I believe it was Brian Jones again. He was open in the end zone and really didn't have the time to get it to him.
Davis with 2 sacks in the game, has 5 on the year, and here's Hairolahu. Chip shot through, 19-6. Argos get 3 off that takeaway. Against Henry Burris. Tough news out of Ottawa to hear that Chris Williams has an ACL injury. He is out, and the Ticats making news today with a big trade with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Justin Capicani.
Xavier Fulton.
And Xavier Fulton heading east. Lyndon Gaydosh. Tommy Streeter heading to the Roughriders.
And 2 draft picks.
There's Anthony Parker with the return. Gets dragged down by the veteran James Juracek.
I want to show you that first down play again, and the tight end here, Brian Jones, just going to run a little curl and is open. If Willie has the normal time in that drop, about 5 to 7 step drop, he finds an open receiver right here for a touchdown. He doesn't have that time. It breaks down. D-line makes the play for the Calgary Stampeders. And I'm sure Kilgore's telling him right now, you had a guy, it was the curl right at the goal line.
Juracek, who made the tackle, the 8-year vet, getting attention now. And while they work on him, we'll step aside. 19-6, Stamps with the lead. Student versus the mentor with more. Matthew Shinetti.
Absolutely, CC. Devon Claybrooks and Rich Stubler both here today, of course. But I was speaking to Charleston Hughes before the game, asking him the similarities between the two. Hughes obviously playing under both at one time or another. And Hughes said, when you look in the locker room, it's almost the same guy. A democratic locker room amongst the players. Claybrooks, like Stubler, allows his veterans to go ahead and really take leadership, communicate, and take roles. But there's still that passion that they both have, the expectation to execute all the time, guys.
Didn't know there was democracy in football. Catch for Daniels.
There's a pecking order. I guarantee you that. Devon Claybrooks doing a great job with his group.
Boy, is he ever.
And learning from the master and Rich Stubler, who's seen it all, done it all.
And Stubler knew he was going to have his hands full today. No headset for either.
Well, every team that's played Calgary has had their hands full.
Straight ahead. Messam trying to atone for that fumble, and he carries for a first down up to the Stampeder 49, pickup of 7. He has a shot at hitting 1,000 yards today. The way he has run it was 131 short coming in, but he has 61 yards on the ground so far.
And attacking right down the middle, like that's the area they're trying to push the ball, is right down the middle of the field. Nothing wide at this point in the run game to Messam.
Former Stamp Sean Lemon in on that tackle. First down. Mitchell under duress here. Brian Hall flushing Hickman after him. Wins a jump ball.
He's done it to a lot of teams, Chris. He just finds a way to buy himself some time. Bo Levi Mitchell, the best in the game at extending the play. And it's eyes downfield, throwing off his back foot on the full run to his right, trusting his receiver at the other end will make the play.
And he did. Marcus Alford looked like he mistimed his jump, and Daniels didn't. 61-yard touchdown connection.
6 30-yard or more play for DeVaris Daniels.
His 7th touchdown. He had one near the cone earlier today. Would look like he had one, but now does. All in 8 games. A keeper out of Notre Dame.
They found another one.
John Huffnagel usually does, doesn't he? And for 2, and that one batted down. Big Brian Hall got a mitt on it. And a rejection to hold it to a 25-6 Calgary lead. But another spectacular play from Bo Levi Mitchell to DeVaris Daniels.
Yeah, let me show you the route for DeVaris Daniels here. He's going to start out with this post route, but then he sees Mitchell on the roll to his right, so watch how he reacts and comes back to his quarterback. So young receivers watching this is how you react. If you're the deep man, come back to the ball and become short. So here he is right here again, and now watch himself work back this way so he can get body position on the man trying to cover him in Marcus Alford. Alford mistimes his jump, cuts underneath, and it's goodbye DeVaris Daniels.
So 8th game, 4th 100-yard receiving game for Daniels.
Good balance too, put that left hand down to keep his balance and beat Gordon to the end zone.
So on a roll, and a souvenir for a family member here. We were just talking off air that last series, if the Argos got a stop, they had a chance to get right back in the game, and all Mitchell does is throw a 61-yard touchdown pass and reasserts complete control in this first half. Ryan Dinwiddie in conversation with Mitchell and Daniels on the sideline. Now Willie going deep, and a jump, and it's brought down. No, it's an incomplete pass. Looked like Jamar Wall had his 5th of the year. He's had 4 in the last 5 games, and thought he should have had another.
Everyone in the league in the defensive end trying to catch Maurice Leggett in Winnipeg when it comes to interceptions, and Jamar Wall runs the route right here with Deontay Spencer. Has a chance, and then just can't corral it.
Wearing 31 in tribute to his late teammate Mylan Hicks. Pitch made off the shoe tops by Coombs and forced out at the 35, well short of the first down, and the Argos have to punt again.
Yeah, those 2nd and 10 situations, Calgary will do that all night long. They're going to just let Drew Willie check down on 2nd and 10 and then rally to the tackle. Great tackling group led by Alex Singleton in the linebacking core. But this secondary, they got 3 guys that go from 2nd to 4th in their defensive play department from that secondary. Jamar Wall is one of them.
Here's Lamar Durant back as a return man, and Durant bounces off Miles and gets outside. A broken tackle, and look at the extra yards before he's wrestled out by Hairolahu. LaMarvelous with a big return. Roy Finch on the bench. Wonder if he got nicked, and Durant picking up the slack in a big way. Boy, it's next man up in every area for Calgary, isn't it?
Everyone chips in. I mean, whether it's the teams, defense, making a play in the secondary, coming back and taking this punt. Lamar Durant, a couple of games ago, had a big game as a receiver. He had 4 catches, his best game of the year, 74 yards. So he chipped in offensively a couple weeks ago.
I'll get off your back for calling range.
Tonight?
Just for a little bit.
It's on the teams.
Told that Roy Finch has a left arm injury. Not sure if he'll be back. That ball batted down. Ken Bishop gets a hand on that. So back-to-back knockdowns by the front 4 of the Argos. The Hall rejection on the 2-point effort. And now Bishop has his second knockdown of the year. Kyler Ellsworth comes off, and Jermaine Gabriel in as an extra defensive back. Stampeders have hit 30 points or more 11 times this year. They have a shot here in the first half of doing that. Bishop broke the plane of the line of scrimmage, so that's an offside call.
Offside. Toronto, number 97. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Excited about his knockdown on first down and gives Bo Levi Mitchell a 2nd and 5.
Go. Double left. R fly, 61 wide open, backside hiccup, chase lane. On go, ready. The R is at the hiccup. You're on the same page.
Simon Charbonneau-Campo in motion. 5 receivers out. Now Messam releases. It's McDaniel. And McDaniel the catch, his first of the game, and his 32nd second down conversion catch that puts him into second place in the CFL in that category.
Yeah, the Stamps leader, but ranked 6th in the CFL coming into the week. Marquay McDaniel just solid and steady. And don't think he won't run by you too if you take him for granted.
11 yards away from his third 1,000-yard receiving season. Messam. And Messam powers his way through the hole and down to the 5. Well, the freight train has only stopped himself today with 1 fumble. Otherwise, chewing up yards against this Argo D.
Sean Lemon here, Chris, off the edge, had a chance to come in and make this play right at the line of scrimmage. He reads it perfectly, but doesn't wrap up.
92 yards rushing for Messam here in the first half.
Three minutes until halftime here at BMO Field. Rod Smith and the guys. I think the tryptophan has kicked in. Oh, maybe not for Milt, despite all that turkey. I guess not for Matty either. Perhaps for Schultze. We're going to talk about this. Dominance by the Stamps. Dominance by the West on this Thanksgiving Monday as well, with Edmonton winning earlier. We'll have highlights. CC, Suits, back up to you.
Schultze just pacing himself. First and goal after that big Messam run. He'll try it again and pushing the pile close to the goal line.
There's a fight in the end zone.
What do we got going there? Lamar Jordan was the stampeder, and
there's another
shot
right
from Josh Mitchell, and it's getting nasty. Derek Dennis in it.
Let's go.
Josh Mitchell, I think, was the first involved for the Argos. Scott Milanovic assessing it. Mitchell without his helmet now. There's Dave Dickinson right in the middle of it.
Dickinson trying to get his guys back in the huddle and away from it all the way down from the far side of the field. Started deep in the back of the end zone. It was receiver DB. Didn't see the numbers initially.
I think it was, well, we'll find out. Looked like Mitchell and Jordan.
Clearly Josh Mitchell was involved as it unfolded. But let's take a look. You can see 29, Josh Mitchell in the left part of your screen there.
Oh,
and then back in the corner in the end zone. There it is, Kamar Jordan.
So Jordan's 1, and it was Devin Smith, 19, not 29, that was initially involved, but then Mitchell arrives on the scene.
Watch to the left. There's Mitchell on Marquay McDaniel. A couple of shots to the head. That'll get him disqualified.
Anthony Parker.
Now, I will say this, and usually what's said in these situations when it comes to a frustrated team that's getting blown out in a game is that what's usually said is that these guys are competitive and they're frustrated, and that's why that happened. There's nothing competitive about fighting and the undisciplined play after the whistle. If you're going to be competitive on the snap and beat your man then. Because I hear that too often, that, well, they're fighting, they're frustrated, they're down in the game, they're at home, and because of that competitive edge, that's why those things happen. That's not competitive.
It's going to make it harder for the Argos to compete here. If he's disqualified here, the Argos' only other extra DB is Jermaine Gabriel, a safety, and we'll find out if Mitchell's done for the game. But you saw him take a couple of swings with officials right there.
It's a tough physical game, and there are times when, you get into it with a guy. And that initial one with Kamar Jordan and Devin Smith, if that's all it is, you let it go and you get up, you get back to the huddle. But it doesn't. It escalates from there. And then the fact that the Argos losing at home in the first half here, that's where they, the crutch of that competitive thing. And it's not. It's undisciplined. And it's not competitive. What is competitive is winning the down, beating your man, covering them down if that's your responsibility, stopping the run on Jerome Messam. That's being competitive.
Taking a long time to do the accounting here. I think they're working on your taxes down there.
I hope they can do it, because when it comes to numbers, I don't want any part of it.
A lot to sort out, and some big numbers already today. Bo Levi Mitchell, 198 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Messam at 95 yards on the ground, all in the first half. iHeartRadio is available now. Over 200 stations of free streaming music. Download the app today.
On the previous play, we had multiple penalties. Toronto, number 29, unnecessary roughness. We have him for 2 UR penalties. Toronto, number 19, is a rough play, disqualification. Calgary, number 88, unnecessary roughness. Calgary, number 16, rough play, disqualification. It will be first down, Calgary, on the 1-yard line.
McDaniel out of the game. Devin Smith, who was initially involved with Kamar Jordan. So the Argos do lose a DB. We thought it might be Mitchell. Mitchell with 2 UR penalties, and Marquay McDaniel, who was late arriving at the scene, gets the hook.
Let's show you, first of all, how it all started. There's Devin Smith right there and Kamar Jordan. And it's to the face mask. They throw each other to the ground. Okay, we've seen that many times in football. That stops there. It's okay. I'm not sure why Marquay McDaniel got thrown out, unless it was something he said. Like, he walks up, but he doesn't. He didn't do anything really. Well, I guess afterwards he went after him and then brought him down, but after he got punched a couple of times.
But when you watch all those replays, is Josh Mitchell not the most involved?
Well, Josh Mitchell should have been thrown out before Devin Smith, in my opinion, but not surprised to see at least 2 thrown out after that.
Didn't get it. I wonder if the eye in the sky helped assess all those penalties, but a little confusing. But Smith done, and again,
unless the disqualification was supposed to be 29, not 19, and they may have just because Devin Smith and Kamar Jordan.
Yeah, if it's Smith out, you'd think Jordan would be out too.
But those were offsetting penalties, if anything, there, and not disqualifications. The fight afterwards, and if you want to say Marquay McDaniel coming in, yeah, okay, because he did get it started again, and Josh Mitchell, those are the type that get disqualifications. So it's a little surprising that Josh Mitchell is still out there.
8 minutes later, we're almost ready to go. I hope. When we last played football, it was 1st and goal Calgary. After that run by Messam, Andrew Buckley in off the left side, and Buckley has the touchdown. Flag on the play again. More than likely against the defense. It will be the 6th touchdown of the year for Buckley if it stands.
Offside. Toronto number 33. The penalties declined. Touchdown.
Aaron Berry had his foot in the neutral zone.
That's 3 times the Argos have been offside on a goal line play at the 1 when you know you can't be beyond the goal line. So the former Calgary Dino quarterback hits pay dirt, puts the Stampeders over 30 points in the first half and over 30 for the 8th consecutive game.
A good team, but
Paredes with the convert.
Obviously the best team in the league, but this is like, and I heard Chris Schultz say it before the game started. I mean, for the Argos to even compete in this game, it was sort of time to man up, and I can't emphasize that enough now at halftime. I mean, you're down 32-6, and now it's about gut check and man up and come in and compete in that second half. Who cares what their record is for the Calgary Stampeders? Who cares what it is? If you're Scott Milinovic, you just say, guys, you got to go out and battle and show me that you're going to man up and play with discipline. Be competitive between the whistles, not after them.
By the way, these are 2 of the top 3 teams in terms of fewest penalties assessed this year. Stampeders, the number 1 in penalties taken. 7 times under 60 yards of penalties in a game this year. That won't be the case here today. Here's DeVere Posey. He does not reach the 35, driven back by that aggressive special teams unit. Adam Tebow at the bottom of the pile gets the tackle, and Marcus Brady has his work cut out for him.
He does, and now you start to look less at the run side of that play sheet and more at the down the field pass side of that play sheet. A lot of check downs, from Drew Willie.
Pressure's impacted those numbers. Spencer's got a catch underneath, up at the 42-yard line. Close to 8. Deontay Spencer, 8 consecutive games of at least 5 catches. That's the longest streak of that in the league this year. So he's been a consistent target since coming off the injury list. Missed the first 6 on the disabled list. Second and short. Whitaker trying to get it. They can't get that short yardage. Ja'Garrett Davis having a monster first half.
Well, it doesn't look like he can be blocked. And he's been real good at on this sort of delayed lineup where he's this time he just crashes it from a real wide stance, real wide set, but he's also lined up 2-3 yards off the line and kind of delayed, walked up, almost like Devon Claybrooks, giving him a little freedom to move around and not just line up as a straight true defensive end.
4 tackles and 2 sacks for Davis in the first half from his defensive end position. Iralahu, and he got hit. No flag. Lamar Durant spins away from one and has dropped it to 35. And Iralahu would like to talk to Dave Foxcroft about no penalty after being hit after kicking the football.
Take a look and see if he was. Leg in the air.
Did he sell that?
Just got it down. The leg, the kicking leg did touch the ground. It looked like Davis tried to avoid it.
Hard to tell from that angle how much contact there was.
He got his leg to the ground. It looked well after the play. Again, I think good no call there.
Fake to Messam. Campo's got it. And tackled at the 37-yard line by number 37, Marcus Alford. Alford beaten on that big touchdown pass to Tavares Daniels earlier in the second quarter.
Got Michael Carter out at the corner. Alford playing inside at halfback for Devin Smith. And Thomas Gordon back there playing off as the extra DB.
4-man rush. Pass caught by Durant, pushed out, first down. Mitchell with the tackle, but Calgary keeps it moving.
Well, this Calgary offense just keeps rolling. I mean, it 241 yards passing. Not to mention what Jerome Messam has done on the ground. I mean, if you're building a defensive game plan against the Calgary offense, boy, pick your poison.
Here in the final minute, they set up the screen. Messam again. Another first down, and he'll rumble to the Argo 45-yard line.
It seems to me, Chris, that Matt Black, the safety, is the guy that's getting. He misses him here. Jerome Messam does a nice job of making the Argo safety Matt Black miss here, but he catches this. But Black coming up this far from the safety spot, that's a bad sign for your defense.
Messam with a new career high in catches with 49, and now back on the ground to the 40. It'll be 2nd and 5. They go no huddle.
Trying to keep putting points on the board, yeah.
Not easing off the gas pedal, are they?
No, they're not.
Nor should they. Fires, open man, another catch, and they'll roll out of bounds. Jordan will stop the clock. 4 seconds left. Probably not time for one more play before the field goal attempt, so on comes Paredes. Boy, as good a first half as Dave Dickinson's seen out of his team this year, and that's saying something.
Oh, absolutely. Last time they lost was the first game of the regular season for the BC Lions.
Paredes makes it a 35-point first half here at BMO. End of 30 minutes of play, and the Stampeders average more than a point a minute in a lopsided opening first half. All stamps, Jerome Messam almost to 100. And Bo Levi Mitchell almost to 300 here in the opening half.
The Argos are just trying to stay in the playoff race. The Stampeders are trying to clinch the West.
And Mitchell's going to go to the air, looking downfield, and a bust. Just adds a 42-yarder to his resume. Mitchell stands in, throws to the end zone. What a catch! Touchdown! Best team in the Canadian Football League, showing you why.
Halftime in Toronto, and the best team in the CFL is far and away the best team on this day behind us. Calgary 35, the Argos 6, not even close so far. Back with the panel of Milt Stiegel, Matt Dunnigan, and Chris Schultz. Schultz, you said it right from the start. If Toronto wants to show they belong, they got to show it right from the get-go, and they certainly did not.
Well, I said they need to man up. The truth is they man down. I mean, for my compliments go to the Calgary Stampeders for the level of execution, especially early. But my criticism is to the Toronto Argonauts. This is the opening series of the play. How do you leave a receiver that wide open on the very first play of the game? And then this is more than just disappointing. Look at the seam. Look at the way everyone on the first and second level is being blocked. And here on the two-point play, Messam goes in, and he goes in standing up. This is about desire. This is about intensity. This is about want to. And the Toronto Argonauts are not showing the desire, the intensity, the want to, but the compliments go to Calgary for their ability to execute again very early in the game.
Yeah, you listen to the guys, CC and Seuss call this game, and, they say pick your poison with this offense. And Calgary Stampeders, they're controlling the line of scrimmage. Your offensive line, 6'5", 330 on average, and they're just dominating Toronto. Look, Schultz, I've been here like 5 or 6 times at BMO Field watching the Toronto Argonauts play, and this is embarrassing. This is the worst I've seen this football team. They thought they got rid of 3 problems, getting rid of 4 receivers this past week. They got more problems because this football team's not taking care of business between the white lines, and it's too easy for the Calgary Stampeders slicing and dicing them, and it starts at the line of scrimmage with those big boys up front, protecting Bo Levi Mitchell and establishing the line of scrimmage and opening up holes for Jerome Messam.
On the football team, it's very difficult to be good. It's even more difficult to be great. But the one thing you can always do, just like you can in life, is give effort. Give 100% effort. And I'm not seeing that from these Argonauts. Just from this one play, Bo Levi Mitchell, first of all, he makes a great scramble, gets outside of the pocket, and throws the ball up. And this first play right here, Alfred, that's a bad effort. And then this tackle right here. I could play better than that, and I hate tackling, I hate defense. Just give her better effort. Yeah, Calgary is a lot better team than you, but you can go out there and give her better effort. These fans pay their hard-earned money to come out here and see you, and this is what they're doing. This is not satisfactory work. These Argonauts have to come out and give a better effort in the second half. Are they going to come back and win this game? Probably not. But just come out here and show us that you want to be a professional football player. Being a professional football player is a privilege. Very few people get that opportunity, and right now they're not looking like a professional football team.
They made the changes. Those receivers are gone, Gurley and Hazelton and Elliott, and yet this still looks like a very frustrated team. The fight in the end zone taking place. We still can't figure out why Josh Mitchell wasn't kicked out. Instead, it was Devin Smith. But yes, definite frustration, and they're down big time in this one, 35-6. Highlights of the earlier game coming up next.
These Calgary Stampeders doing? In the first half, Bo Levi Mitchell, 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jerome Messam, 14 carries, 99 yards, and 1 touchdown. And what about DeVaris Daniels? This team, year in and year out, continues to find weapons. 5 receptions, 126 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now that's impressive.
It certainly is. And here's Daniels now with Matthew Shinetti.
DeVaris, you got to tell us, what kind of groove are you getting into with this offense?
It's amazing, man. Coach puts us in great positions to make plays. I'm just lucky to be a part of the situation, and it's just coming into my hands. I'm just out there trying to, make plays for my team and keep this thing rolling.
And expand upon the focus of everybody in that unit, because no matter what the situation, what the score, you guys have a certain kind of consistency.
Yeah, I mean, we all have faith in each other. We know that we got a lot of playmakers on this team. It's just on us, man. We really feel like nobody can stop us except for ourselves. And as long as we keep the penalties down and keep the mental mistakes down, then we should be good.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Stampeders 30 minutes away from their 13th win and a ticket into the Western Final. And that is still 6 weeks away. Stampeders looking great in a 35-6 lead. There's still another half to play.
Welcome back to Toronto. Happy Thanksgiving, 35-6. It's been a feast so far for the Stampeders. Let's check in with Matthew Shinetti and Scott Milanovich.
Scott, what is the key to equalize the emotions of your defense going into the second half?
Well, we got to control ourselves. I don't know exactly what happened on that play, but no matter what happened, we got to control our emotions and play the game until the whistle and then get back in the huddle.
In terms of the second half, it's always a brand new day for your offense. So what do they have to do to get back in the game?
Well, we got stopped 3 times in a short yardage in the first half. We had Levi wide open for a touchdown, weren't able to get it to him. So we just need to stay on the field longer, keep our defense off the field, and execute when we have the opportunities.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Well, it's not necessarily about winning in the second half. It's trying to develop something positive in the double blue side of the field.
Yeah, win the second half. Not necessarily win the game. That might not be enough points to win the game, but win the second half and build something positive. I'm real glad that Scott Milanovich said that they got to play between the whistles. Control your emotions, play with discipline. Clearly that was addressed at halftime.
And clearly the Stamps look like a team intent on making more than one trip to Toronto this year. There's Posey, the newcomer, leaping across the 40-yard line. Decent return and field position for the Argos to start this second half.
Well, just 4 first half first downs for Drew Willie and this offense. Got themselves in trouble in the first quarter with some penalties on first down that put them in a real difficult hole. They couldn't climb out of it. They did not register a first down in the first quarter. That's what Scott Milanovich was mentioning.
And he did address one of the problems. They had 5 yards rushing on 6 carries in the first half. Willie in trouble again, wrapped up, and Charleston Hughes has his 11th sack of the year.
Yeah, that's the line of scrimmage that you just heard Matt Dunnigan talk about in the panel down here at BMO. And Charleston Hughes stepping up inside move and then twists Drew Willie around so he can't even throw it away, let alone finding a receiver.
83rd career sack. He's now 19th all-time in that department. Second and long. Willie underneath. Brandon Whitaker. Alex Singleton on the scene. Won't let him get by. Sure tackle by the rookie Singleton, who has excelled at middle linebacker since taking over that spot.
Take a look at some middle linebacker play. This has been one of the leaders in this defense. 22-year-old Alex Singleton. Watch him just drop. Read the eyes of Willie when he drops it off to that check down. Now he's got an open field tackle on a guy that's tough to bring down. Holds his ground, twists him, and pulls him down.
Iralahu, and it's blocked. Looked like Tavares Daniels it's Jordan this time who has the punt block. And that's the 3rd of the year for the Calgary Stampeders. Kamar Jordan off the edge, Tavares Daniels and Charlie Power have already recorded punt blocks this year for Calgary.
Real casual for Kamar Jordan, who's going to come like he's lined up almost in the secondary. He's back there in the back end, and then he comes around the corner and gets to this punt. Lays out.
So the Stamps winning all 3 phases decisively here. That pass batted in the air and incomplete off the hand of Ellsworth and up for grabs, and nobody could bring it down.
Aaron Berry had a shot at it. Can't believe it. That looked like it was hanging up there for forever. This confused Bo Levi Mitchell a little bit. Ellsworth lined up to his to his right, to Mitchell's right, and then just shuffled back over to the opposite side. He didn't expect him to be in that throwing lane.
Ellsworth in at middle linebacker for Marshall McFadden. There's a loose ball on the ground, and they pile up for it. Looks like Calgary got back on it. It's Messam who recovers. But a bad snap and a 2-and-out, and the field goal team comes on.
Hey, the whistle was blown, big boy.
Well, there's bad and then there's flat awful.
And Spencer Wilson on that snap looked like a guy who's played a lot of guard and tackle.
I was going to say that the bad snap is just a little low for the quarter, maybe a little high.
Messam bails him out, but Spencer Wilson has had a terrific year.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Wherever they play him.
Hey, it happens to everybody. That looked like one of my putts, like when you're 5 feet away and you putt at half the distance.
So Paredes sizes it up and puts it through from 37 yards out. And it's 38-6 for Calgary. Boy, they've had the heat on Willie all day, and Charleston Hughes registers another Calgary sack.
Hello, I'm Charleston Hughes.
But he's brought down. Harris under pressure, and Charleston Hughes got it.
I want to wish all of Canada and all your families back home a happy Thanksgiving.
Has been for Stamp fans today. Another great year for Hughes, 9-year veteran, 11 sacks on the year. Drew Willie gets that one away, and a completion to Kenny Shaw.
Yeah, Charleston Hughes will do a lot of things. He'll set you up as an offensive tackle. He'll go to the outside edge of that tackle 2 or 3 times in a row. Watch him here. He's going to just do a straight up the field pass rush here, and he gets you set up and then makes the inside move. And he can, as good as anybody in the league, with that spin move inside.
Second and short, and he can't get that away. Blitz there from Joe Burnett gets home. And that's the 4th sack of the game for Calgary. And another second and short that Toronto can't convert.
Joe Burnett hides behind Alex Singleton here and then just sneaks around on this blitz. Again, he's that strong side linebacker, really a defensive back, and he ends up coming in between Singleton and the tackle.
We got drink.
Second sack of the year for Burnett. Iralahu gets this away. It's Durant on the return. And he is taking down quickly. A sure tackle on the play. But all Calgary defense, Joe Burnett, the latest to get to the quarterback. Marks and TSN want you to show us what it means to be a CFL fan. Download the TSN Go app and use the Marks Fan Cam feature, or use hashtag Marks Fan Cam on Instagram or Twitter to share your game day pictures and videos. Best fan submissions may be featured on TSN. Young group from Guelph here watching this one and taking notes on this impressive Calgary Stampeders squad. Messam and Corey Greenwood stepped up and was spying there to make a quick stop.
There's a play where you could say you reach down at halftime and say, okay, I'm going to make a play. I can take care of one thing, and that's the effort. You heard Milt Stegall talk about it at the half. Corey Greenwood steps up here, comes down, crashes down, makes a good tackle in the backfield on a big running back in Jerome Messam.
Puts Messam over 100. However, 4th time this year with a couple of yards on that carry. 2nd and 8. Mitchell going to throw that away. Nothing was available and wasn't going to make a mistake.
Wow, that's how quickly Bo Levi Mitchell knows when it's broken down and it's not going to happen. He threw that away immediately and then looked and talked to Jerome Messam as if he maybe went the wrong direction. I'm not sure, but he could see that play didn't have a chance. and threw it away immediately. Like Lamar Durant may be one of the guys as well.
And Dave Dickinson not happy with this huge lead. Doesn't want to, and he let up. Maver's second punt of the game. And Deontay Spencer not going anywhere. Good cover downfield. First man down there, Shaq Richardson with the tackle. Well, Drew Willie hasn't had much time, has he, so far in this game?
No, he really hasn't. That's been the difference. He's trying to get the football out of there.
And we should mention the rich getting richer. Cordero Law rejoining the Stampeders. As that group gets even deeper, it's been a huge day for Jagara Davis and Charleston Hughes. And Cordero Law in the rotation too. There's more time. And downfield for Spencer, who couldn't reach it. A stride away as Spencer got in behind Seontae Evans.
Well, he's in behind by 3-4 yards here. A little stop and go twice. And as a corner, you're thinking, okay, he tried to get me on the double move there the first time. He won't do it again. He does it twice. Still has the time. Willie finally gets a little time in the pocket, and they just miss each other.
Well, these were the three players let go along with Phil Bates this week, and it all adds up to 86 catches, 1,164 yards, and 10 touchdowns gone. Willie hasn't had time to find the new guys. Under duress here, Jagara Davis has his third sack of the game. He just doubled his sack total on the year, now up to 6.
You know, this is a guy that played linebacker growing up too, a guy that's athletic for a big defensive lineman as big as he is. And Devon Claybrook's now is moving him around. They're playing him in different spots, lining him up where a normal linebacker would be in position, and then allowing him to sort of freelance.
Iralahu puts it away. Again, Durant in place of the injured Finch. And he breaks the first tackle. Ellsworth can't bring him down, and Durant across midfield. Well, Jagara Davis has been the best of an impressive defensive group. He does the count for you. Easy as 1, 2, 3 on Thanksgiving Day. A lot of guys sharing the limelight in this game. Messing with over 100. Mitchell 250. How about Tavares Daniels?
Another 100-yard game for Daniels already. That's his 4th in 8 starts. Making plays down the field.
5 catches, 126, 61 on that touchdown grab. We mentioned in the first half that on pace full year, 1,450 yards. That's better than Eric Rogers last year when he led the CFL as the favorite target for Bo Levi Mitchell. And it's Kamar Jordan who has been a nice 1-2 punch here with Daniels today. And he closes in on 100.
Got the chance to play when Bakari Grant was injured. Lots of space in between those zones.
6 catches, 94 yards, and a punt block for Jordan. Charlie Power and Cote in the backfield, and that pass skips incomplete. Intended once again for Jordan.
Sure, it looked like Justin Hickman might have got his hands on that football at the line of scrimmage. It almost seemed like it died as it was trying to get there on that hot route. It's coming off the edge here, and he doesn't get there. He doesn't provide a lot of pressure, but he's just kind of dancing. It looked like he got his right hand on it.
Bo Levi Mitchell, 11 300-yard games on the year. Mike Riley fired his 12th today against Montreal. Mitchell in some trouble here, and he is hit by Hickman. and Lemon picks it up. And the Argos have the football. Now Sean Lemon, the former Stampeder, is going to roll.
He wants to give it to a DB.
Yep, and they don't make the handoff. Now they do. Gabriel's got it. Tiptoes on the sidelines. And he's out at the 22-yard line. I don't think he knows he touched out. But the biggest play of the day for the Argos comes from Sean Lemon in the defense.
It starts with Sean Lemon, too. He's the guy who's going to flush Mitchell initially. A real good pass rush right here off the top of your screen. And he's gonna make him a little move out there, shake him. Now that causes Mitchell to step up. Now here comes Hickman from behind, and Lemon gets the fumble. And he looked immediately for a DB to try and give that ball to, and finally found one.
They missed one handoff, and then here's Gabriel down the sidelines, and he did just touch out. That pass fired complete down at the 6-yard line. A rope to Kenny Shaw, and a first down for Toronto.
Right off of that was the best throw by Drew Willie. But let's take a look right at the end of the play, too. As you could see right away, Lemon looking for a DB. Okay, no, wait a minute. You're going to get tackled anyway. Here, how about you? And away goes Jermaine Gabriel and just steps out.
It was close. He thought he'd scored. Fireworks went off here. And now first and goal at the 6. Molina in the backfield, and Willie under duress again. That ball popped loose, and do the Argos get back on it? Looks like Greg Van Noten saves the day. But nothing's come easy for this offense today.
Well, I just said that last throw from Drew Willie, his best of the game, but then it's back to what we've seen for the most part of the game, and that's the pocket collapse around him.
And that was Charleston Hughes with his second of the game, now 12 on the season, his 4th multi-sack game. Calgary showing pressure again. Willie got it away, touchdown. Kenny Shaw has the touchdown for Toronto.
Started to look like that pocket was going to collapse one more time. Alex Singleton is picked up by Sean McEwen nicely in the middle. That's the middle linebacker blitz. He took care of that, giving Drew Willie just enough time to get it to Shaw.
His 5th touchdown on the season. Argos leading receiver. And shaken up as he made his way back to the Toronto sidelines. Argos not going to go for 2. Iralahu kicks the 1-point convert. So 38-13 here with just over 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Take a look at Kenny Shaw here and some great route running, and the reason he can be off the line like that is because Deontay Spencer is playing tight end, so the tackle is covered. You're allowed to be in motion. Now a little route running there. Watch this outside stick move and then right back into the middle by Kenny Shaw. Wow, and that just breaks the spat of Tommy Campbell, who's a great cover corner.
6 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown for Shaw. And Drew Willie finally had enough time to get it away. Just enough.
The spat, by the way, is the tape that players tape their shoes up.
So in these kind of games, we'd expected a 2-point convert attempt. One more look at the nice move.
I'm a little surprised.
And you'd expect a short kick here. See if we get that.
I might have kicked it deep, but I'd probably have gone for 2 down this far.
And they will kick deep. Anthony Parker. And he gets outside. And down the sidelines for Parker. And he hasn't stepped out. Or has he? Argos think he stepped out back at the 46. They're marking it there, or at least the Argos are, so let's see if we get a challenge. Great kick return by Parker into Argo territory.
Let's take a look. Can't see his foot there.
That's close. And that looks like it could be on the white paint, but that's hard to say as well. And Scott Milanovich talking about it, but I don't think they've thrown a challenge yet. And are we going to get it? Yeah, there it is. They wanted to get as many looks at the replay as possible.
Just an outstanding move, though, by Anthony Parker to go up into the return and then bounce it. Put the containment.
Toronto was challenging that the player stepped out of bounds on the previous play. We'll review the play.
Beats the contain man, who was Ben Molina, the newcomer, I believe, for the Argos.
Well, a couple of steps as he walked the tightrope. Anything there? Maybe some green. How about the next step?
Take one more step. We'll take
that one looks okay. And
looks okay. That right foot right there. We'll take another look there. Maybe the heel.
Well, I think he might still be okay.
But he might be okay there.
We're still inconclusive.
Well, and this is what they're looking for. The ruling on the field. You're going to have to see.
It's this next step that might be the closest. When the right foot comes down, let's find out.
Is that heel?
How about one more? Does that toe hit white paint? Hard to say.
I think the first heel is the closest, but is that enough evidence to overturn the ruling on the field, which is ball in Toronto's end?
Be a difference of 23 yards in the spot from where they were challenging that he was out to where he finally was pushed out of bounds. But maybe a little bit of a tightroper in his.
I like the return. I mean, Anthony Parker, speed getting around the corner, baits the contain man inside,
and gets a chance with Roy Finch out of the game.
Hasn't been quite as involved in the offense last couple of weeks.
After review, it was determined the Calgary returner stepped out of bounds at the 46-yard line.
Okay, they did.
It'll be first down, Calgary at the 46-yard line.
He says no.
Nope.
Either way, great return, and so Scott Milanovich will get that 23 yards back. But I love the return. First of all, he heads up in here enough to bait the contain man and then bounces it outside and shows the great speed. See that little move inside? That's 34 Ben Molina that comes all the way inside. He loses contain.
So it becomes a 33-yard kick return. And off to Messam. Huge hole. He's going to rumble a long way again. Down inside the 35-yard line for the GO train, Jerome Messam.
He's got to be closing in on 1,000 now. I mean, you could have driven a bigger truck than the Messam truck through that one.
In fact, you're right on the mark. I think he's just gone over by a yard to 1,001 on the season.
Spencer Wilson, the center, he gets the key block right there. Look at the size of that hole.
31-yard romp, over 1,000, second time in his career.
And leads the league in rushing touchdowns.
And then on the next carry, slow to get up. And that will prompt the question, when you start bringing in the reserves.
Let's go back to that big run. Center, Spencer Wilson with a nice block. You got a good down block here to the outside by Derek Dennis. Now in the second level, the offside guard, Shane Bergman, he picks up Ellsworth. Textbook up front. Chris Schultz must be going, I want to highlight that one when I do a hit.
Messam to the sidelines. They'll swing it out to Cote, and here's Rob Cote close to another first down. He's dragged down by Jermaine Gabriel. Going to be a yard short. Maybe less than a yard. Paredes limbering up, but the short yardage team comes on. And is Messam coming back? He wants in.
Well, he's on the short yardage team, so if they're going to go short yardage, then he needs to let his coaching staff know that Messam's not available right now.
Andrew Buckley. And now, do they look to the bench? Because there's an injured Argo, so Sean Lemon's down to get attention, and that gives Messam time to join the huddle.
At least get halfway out there to make sure they're good. Okay, and now he makes a substitution.
William Longleg comes to the bench, up backup fullback.
Well, it's a year of the 300-yard passing quarterback, not necessarily the year of the tailback, but having said that, Jerome Messam, first one to 1,000. Brandon Whitaker is closing in, although he's had a real quiet night.
On pace to become the 10th different Calgary Stampeder to win the rushing title. John Cornish, of course, did it multiple times. Most recently, Joffrey Reynolds. Going back a ways to Willie Burden, Gary Allen, James Sykes, Hugh McInnes, Earl Lunsford.
Wow.
And add Jerome Messam to that group.
That's quite a list. What a way to get it, too. Just blow open a hole like that on the right side of the line.
And for Jerome, in his 7th year, he's found a home, hasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Used properly.
Buckley left side. He's got it. As a touchdown of the game, the youngster from the Calgary Dinos moves the chains again.
Last 9 games, 9 touchdowns for Messam, so he's money down on the goal line when everyone knows they're going to run.
And one here today to keep that streak going. Had 1,057 yards in 2011. He's going to do better than that as long as he stays healthy.
But you got to wonder if Dave Dickinson starts making substitutions after this drive. You think?
Got a few different guys in there, like Charlie Power, and Rob Cote's going to carry the ball. And here's Cote driving it down inside the 10 with his first carry of the year.
Play a lot of tight end, and he'll do some blocking from there for Jerome Messam. But here's what he's done tonight. Down the goal line, that's that touchdown you talked about, and then showing you how he can pick and weave and find his hole in the middle. It's been all down Main Street, too. I mean, they're going A-gaps between center and guard either side. Not really even mixing it up, saying we'll go wide on one pitch and then come back to the middle.
Mitchell looking end zone again, and incomplete. Just off target to Tavares Daniels again. And that's the final play of the 3rd quarter. It'll be 2nd and goal when we come back. It's been a stampede here today. Calgary in control on Thanksgiving Day at BMO. Well, look at the lopsided numbers in this game. The Stampeders have dominated. The only question now is, Bo Levi Mitchell going to be around long enough to have a 300-yard passing game?
It would be his 12th if he can, but yeah, a lot of numbers on the left side, not a lot on the right, and especially in the first down department. I mean, I'm not sure I remember a game that after 3 quarters there were only 6 first downs. That's been an issue, and Drew Willie's still learning this offense, but This is the best team in the league, the Calgary Stampeders, and this is going to be a dilemma for Dave Dickinson moving forward in their last 3 games. How much does Bo Levi play? They will lock up first place in the West Division with this win.
They are chasing some history as 16-1-1 is a possibility. It would be the best regular season record in CFL history. In an 18-game season, pressure here, and it's dumped off, and it's Cote again. Rob Cote, touchdown.
You got to think that that's it for 19. That perfect season in 48, but there is some records, and you know how much Bo Levi Mitchell and Dave Dickinson would like to set those marks, would like to be the team, wanting to be one of the best teams to ever suit up and play a season in the CFL, and boy, they're on their way to get there. But then you balance that against putting your star quarterback and maybe your starting tailback in harm's way in games that don't change your position in the standings.
Cote, a 10-year veteran, savors his second touchdown of the season. Perez adds the convert. And the Stampeders have 45 on the day. Their season high 48 against Ottawa. It's the 4th time they've been over 40 points this season. A cornucopia of offense for the Stamps today.
Well, it starts right there with number 19. I mean, he does everything at the quarterback position so fundamentally sound. Those little looks off, the fakes when he hands it off, when he fakes like he's going to throw it. You know, he drops out of there on that touchdown throw to Cote, looking to his right the entire way, knowing he's got the screen set up left. You know, those may seem like small things. They're not. They're big things. They influence the defense, and that's why, because he's so fundamentally sound, that all of a sudden things start to look easy. They're not easy.
It was a run.
But he makes them look that way because he takes care of all the small details. And then when it does break down, the best quarterback in the league binds himself an extra second or 2.
Exchanging words there with his old teammate Sean Lemon as Devere Posey is brought down at the 30-yard line. Argos go back on offense. Again, 6 first downs. That's, I think, the lowest 3-quarter total on the season for any team. Molina in at the running back spot. The kid out of Texas A&M meets Jagarrett Davis very quickly. Teammate of Darrell Walker, and in fact Walker
gave him a call.
Told him this would be the spot for him. A guy that was a big hit, one of the most popular players at Texas A&M. In fact, one article suggested he had the most flair on the team, and that was a team with Johnny Manziel. So this guy made an impression. Second down, Willie throws. Pass was behind Spencer and incomplete. Couldn't hang on with Tommy Campbell there in coverage. 2 and out.
Scott Milenovich, as we talked about off the top, has basically anointed Drew Willie the starting quarterback the rest of the way. Ricky Ray is close to coming off the injured list.
Just checking, the Argos low for first downs this year, 11 at Saskatchewan, but usually in the 25 first down range. Nice return, maybe brought back by penalty. It's a holding call against Calgary that will negate that Durant return, but everything else going Calgary's way.
During the return, illegal.
Bo Levi Mitchell's day is done. 18-27, 3 touchdown passes, 281 yards in just over 3 quarters.
Well, I guess the only downside for him is the fact that he won't get to that 300-yard mark in this one tonight, but won't play the rest of this 4th quarter either, because if he did, he'd get there. 3 touchdown passes. Money.
He'll watch the rest of the way. The CFL's Maytag repairman, Drew Tate, is in, and that is his 2nd pass of the year. Meanwhile, the starter, Bo Levi Mitchell, continues to push for history down the stretch.
We're trying to be one of the greatest teams to ever play this game. You know, we spoke about it the last 2 years. You know, especially in 14, you know, we had a chance to do it as well, to tie the record, and we didn't do it. And I was very, very disappointed in that. You know, 15-3 was not good enough for me. I wasn't happy with that. I wasn't satisfied. 14-4 hurt that much more last year. And, you know, we have an opportunity to do something pretty awesome.
So 15-3, not good enough. 14-4, not good enough. He's got his sights set on 16-1-1.
Simon.
Now the question will become,
That looks like it hurt.
now that it looks certain they'll lock up first tonight in the division, the question becomes for Dave Dickinson, how much do you play Bo Levi Mitchell?
They've got a home game against Montreal next week, then Toronto at home, and a final game against Montreal on the road. Oh, there's a block punt. Argos get one back. Stretching out was Justin Hickman, has his 2nd block of the season. So that front 4 trying to make big plays. Lemon set up a touchdown earlier in the 2nd half, and now Hickman with a block. Toronto after the punt block on offense, and Brandon Whitaker, who's had a tough day, hasn't been able to put a dent in that Calgary defense, has 2 to 3 on that carry. So it'll be 2nd and long from the 21. Pressure coming. Willie steps up and gets away, and Willie stretches for a 1st down inside the 10-yard line.
Charleston Hughes causing problems again. He's coming from the left side of your screen, and he's the guy who's going to flush Willie out of the pocket. High and wide, then he comes back down, and him and Singleton.
So it's 1st and goal. The ball just nudging inside the 10. 5 receivers up. Willie slant. It's Spencer. Touchdown. Deontay Spencer. The Argos have their 2nd offensive touchdown of the day.
Off the block kick. Play made on the special teams by the Argos, and trying desperately to fight back.
3rd touchdown on the year.
Well, this is a real puzzle.
Yeah, when you're down this much,
why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you go for 2? But Hiralahu puts the single point convert through. Maybe Scott Milavich just focused on, we're going to try and win this 2nd half.
Yeah, I guess. And, you know, when you're playing the best, the #1 team in the league, that maybe, but it also sort of is conceding the win. You know, in all reality, it is over. However, you sort of want to have that. Here's the block kick again. Want to have that mentality that it's never over until that final whistle blows. But That set up the touchdown on the block kick. That was Hickman. And Drew Willie steps up and hits Deontay Spencer.
Does it make a difference? Probably not, but even one successful 2-point would get you within 24, which is 3 touchdowns and 3 2-point converts. Instead, it's just another score away. But it's a long way.
It's a long way. It's a long way no matter what. But
Anthony Parker protecting the football and bringing it out to the 35-yard line, and Drew Tate has his second series.
Now, Scott Milanovich said to his team that despite the way that they've played of late, and they're coming off that loss to Montreal, the worst, most lopsided of the season, which is why he made the changes. One of the reasons, not just because of that game, but thought he'd pull the trigger on some of these changes. Said to us that he didn't regret those and doesn't. But where does he go from here now? The division is still up for grabs.
Rob Cote's going to handle the running back position probably for the rest of the game, with Messam over 100, over 1,000, and probably done for the day. And that's Cote's first rush of the year. Has 5.
So if you're Dave Dickinson, are you playing Bo Levi Mitchell for the first quarter of every game, the first half of every game? Does he play every game? And you, I don't know, it's a tough one.
Here's Jordan. A little hitch, gets to midfield and beyond. Dragged down by Corey Greenwood.
Tell you what, though, it's an issue that they love to have, because it's an issue that means that they're in first place with 6 weeks to go in the season.
Well, you play a coach on television. What would you do?
That's a good way to put it. Somewhere Wally Bono is laughing at that line.
Cote again, and a short change of 1 carry. This is third of the game, and flags fly as he gets gang tackled after that 17-yarder by Jordan to give Calgary a first down in Toronto territory.
Yeah, I think you prepare and you play. I mean, I'll play one on TV one more time, because I think you prepare and play the entire year, but make sure you get them out as quickly as you can. I mean, whether it be the first half, depending on how it goes, you get a chance to get Drew Tate some more playing time just in case. Take Bo Levi Mitchell out of harm's way as early as possible, but keep him sharp as far as preparation and getting ready to play every week. You can make an argument for a lot of different ways to go in that.
Penalty against Toronto, moves it down to the 33, first down. There's Cote out of the backfield, and they got submarine there by the corner, Aaron Berry. Well, think back a few years ago to that last meaningless game at BC Place. They lost a few guys in that game. Micah Johnson, Nick Lewis.
Right.
But somebody's got to play.
Well, yeah, but those are. But this is the starting quarterback is different, and you're giving your backup valuable playing time. You know, we're playing against teams in those final 3 games that are still playing for their playoff spots in some cases.
Pass complete to Campo, and that should be close to a first down. But here's the other issue you mentioned off camera earlier. They get a final week bye. They clinch the division here. So they're going to have 3 weeks off for the Western Final. Same situation as Edmonton last year, so we know it can be handled, but does that impact how much Dave Daniels plays Bo Levi Mitchell, Messam, and his starters before that break?
Well, and after you heard that clip from Bo Levi Mitchell, Chris, you know what he'd like.
They've got fish to fry.
he'd like to play every snap of every game down the stretch and try and get his Calgary Stampeders to 16-1-1, which would be the best record of all time. I mean, that's on the mind of both those guys. But Dave Dickinson has to pull players sometimes back from the edge You'd rather do that than try to push him towards it. And he's going to have to try and do that with Bo Levi Mitchell, I'm sure, because Mitchell wants to play every down, and he's going to have to try and manage that.
Buckley on third down with that sneak for a fresh set of downs. Tate back in. Coates the ball carrier again.
Meanwhile, the race for second, third, and that fourth team to possibly cross over, and it looks like that will be a real strong possibility in the West. That race is a very interesting one.
Boy, that's something with BC and Winnipeg. Edmonton 2 points back. BC and Winnipeg. We'll see again next week in the rematch of that thriller the other day.
Yeah, it is quite a logjam after Calgary, and when you take a look at who comes this side of the division and plays in the East.
And as much as you think whoever does cross over and likely will have the best record, you'd think they'd have the big advantage, and yet nobody has crossed over before and managed their way to the cup.
But this may be the year. Yeah, this may be the year. I mean, the way the West is playing right now, and a couple of injuries again. Chris Williams for Ottawa out for the season. This weekend's game.
Third and a couple. Paredes comes on, and Calgary with a chance here to match their season high points if Paredes is good from short range. Straight away, 20 yards out. Make it 48 for the Stampeders. 48-20. Just over 4.5 to go at BMO. Prior to the game, a special ceremony to honor the most recent inductees into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, who are members of the Argos, Mookie Mitchell and Rodney Harding. And the guy on the left,
I'm sorry, I don't recognize him.
You're not aware of who that is?
Who's that? Who's that guy?
Recent inductee into the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame. Our congratulations to Pinball Clements. Speaking of Hall of Famers, Damon Allen here today as well. Drew Willie sidestep pressure and gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard or two, as he tries to avoid this persistent Calgary rush.
Well, you take a look at this East Division, and you know, Scott Milenovich will be able to, even after this loss, say basically the same thing to his team, which is, guys, just keep working at it, because if we can catch fire and get hot, I mean, they could still finish second. 2 of the 3 teams there are going to, well, maybe even Montreal's not out of it yet either, but there'll be 2 of those 4 that will get in this division.
Ottawa plays Hamilton next week. One will win, one will lose, so the Argos
are still there.
Are still within reach. Another tackle for Alex Singleton, who's had a good day. The Argos finish with Saskatchewan home, and then the news gets bad for Scott Milenovich. He's got to go to Calgary and then finish in Edmonton.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be easy, no question. And he's going through a quarterback transition. I mean, they've played 4, really 5 quarterbacks this year. Making the transition to Drew Willie right now. This is a guy he believes in.
And not to suggest there was good news in Saskatchewan coming here with the way they're playing right now.
Absolutely.
Ryan Jones, 4th catch, and upended by Tommy Campbell. And a first down on that 3rd down gamble for the Argos, who will stay on the field. Willie's still flexing that hand that's given him trouble the last couple of weeks. He's hitting that right thumb off a couple of helmets, and it might be worse than the thumb. It might be a shoulder after he continues to get punished here today. Got this one away, but paid for it on the hit from Micah Johnson. Team in the Canadian Football League operating on all cylinders today, 48-20 with the lead. Really a little stumble there as he backpedaled, and Molina can't make the catch, running before he caught the football. This is going to be the 12th consecutive win by the West against an Eastern opponent. dating back to late August when Hamilton beat Saskatchewan 53-7, which was the last game I did that was
we're getting
not
spoiled.
in the balance.
We're getting spoiled with these close games, overtime games, one possession, fourth quarter drive games. Not so much tonight.
2nd and 10. Flipped out. Here's Molina. And he gets submarine taken down on a sure tackle by Ciante Evans. Boy, he's been good on the corner this year since taking the job away from Fred Bennett.
Well, I like the play of both their corners. In fact, that secondary outstanding. Jamar Wall leads the group in interceptions, but the play of Ciante Evans and Tommy Campbell on the outside, they can lock you down even with the new rules in the CFL and the passing game.
Stay on the field, 3rd and 13, trying to convert. Willie has some time, through underneath, and that's not going anywhere. Brian Jones, they're ruling incomplete, doesn't matter. It's a turnover on downs.
He's been doing a lot of that in the pocket when he has that time, pump faking, looking downfield, not wanting to pull the trigger because of that coverage in the back end.
Time now for the Nissan Titan Player of the Game, brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League.
Well, let's go through the guys as you're watching who we've given the award to. Jagarrett Davis gets honorable mention, 3 sacks all over the field defensively, and he was he was my partner's vote. Chris Cuthbert voted for Jagarrett Davis. We went with the 1,000-yard rusher, first guy to 1,000 yards. But how about Bo Levi Mitchell, always in the conversation. Tavares Daniels, over 100 yards receiving. And I was trying to sell a little bit of maybe just the O-line here in Calgary.
You know, and on Thanksgiving Turkey Day, you'd think we might have given consideration to the guys that weigh in at 1,655 pounds.
But let's give it to the guy who gets to 1,000 yards first. First tailback there.
And looks like a guy who's going to win a rushing title. Here's Cote bouncing around on 2nd down, and he's going to get stopped.
And he's from Brampton.
That was an overriding part of the decision. It was going to be either him or Rob Maver.
There you go.
And Maver wasn't very busy.
Well, they won the line of scrimmage tonight. They, on both sides of the ball, offensively opening holes for Messam, allowing Bo Levi Mitchell to stand there in the pocket, deliver the ball, and when he had to scramble, it was just a few times. And the same on the defensive line. That defensive line just was in the face, Drew Willie. It's hard to learn a brand new offense when all you're doing is looking at the pass rush.
Here's Rob Maver. He gets it inside the 10. Well, not out of bounds.
Yeah, he wasn't a finalist.
So not a finalist, okay. Posey on the return up near the 20. Argos have 201 net yards in this game. So Calgary is a minute 22 away from their best defensive effort of the year. They allowed 229 in a game against BC in that decisive victory in what we thought was a big showdown for best in the West about a month ago.
Yeah, Cordero Law signs and is back with Calgary, and Jagarrett Davis takes his game, which was excellent coming in, up another notch.
Hand off to Molina. As you often say, the best competition's the internal one, the guy behind you.
The guy behind you on the depth chart is the best way to push you, and that's what, this is a good team. Cordero Law joins it, former Calgary Stampeders, so you've got now Law, Jagarrett Davis, and Charleston Hughes in the rotation. And Davis was dynamite tonight.
6 tackles, 3 sacks. It just made for Posey. There's his first in the Canadian Football League. Posey, who was a 3rd-round draft choice of the Houston Texans after playing at Ohio State, had a touchdown in a playoff game against New England back in the 2013 playoffs.
3rd-round pick in that 2012 NFL draft. He went ahead of Russell Wilson that year.
And underneath to Posey again with the flag. up to the 45.
This is also what Scott Milenovich can do. He's looked at a couple of young guys. Brian Jones made a couple of plays early on tonight. Now, Drew Willie hasn't had the time to throw, and Calgary has dominated that line of scrimmage like we said. But, you know, he wants to see some of these
Offside.
young guys.
Toronto number 6. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Jones offside here, though, and that negates that last catch for Posey.
Get your team as good as you can get them. Put them together. If you're in the East right now, you're trying to win a couple down the stretch, a couple to end the season, go into the playoffs as hot as possible, and try and upset the team coming through the West.
There's Molina. Stacked up just beyond the line of scrimmage. Short gain for the other newcomer today. They just keep rolling. Dave Dickinson now has his 13th win to match John Hufnagel, Adam Rita, Mike Benavides for best first-year win total.
And looked into the camera and said, "Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, folks."
Early underneath, Anthony Coombs, first down, and a dozen seconds left. I'm going to go out on a limb and predict Dave Dickinson sets the mark for wins by a first-year coach. I think he's going to break that tie in the last 3 weeks.
Well, that's where the best fruit is, right out at the end of that limb, so go get it.
Going to be unbeaten in 14. Most points for, fewest points against. Willie, Spencer, Tommy Campbell with the stick, and one more play. Long afternoon for Scott Milenovich. The losing streak is now 4, and they have lost 8 of their last 9. I think a lot of people saw this unraveling happening about a month ago. That's the ball game. And the best in the West, the best in the Canadian Football League, put on another great show today. Stamps match is season high in points with 48. Jerome Messam over 1,000 yards on the season. They got off to a hot start and never looked back. Lopsided 48-20 win for Calgary as they up their record to 13-1-1. So long from BMO Sports Centers Now.